Blame It on Rio.
Released 1984, directed by Stanley Donen Moore. 248 of 314. The funniest 80s movies. 36 of 119. The best R-rated sex comedies. 37 of 91. The best movies about vacations.
Now You See Me.
Released 2013, directed by Louis Leterrier Moore. Now You See Me. 89 of 242. The best psychological thrillers of all time. 9 of 10 movie twist endings that made no sense whatsoever. 281 of 315 movies with the best soundtracks.
Noises Off.
Released 1992, directed by Peter Bogdanovich Moore. 34 of 84. The best movies based on plays. 443 of 456. The most quotable movies of all time. 178 of 261. The best ensemble movies.
Ashanti.
Released 1979, directed by Richard Fleischer.
The Island.
Released 1980, directed by Michael Ritchie.
Morgan's Last Love.
Released 2013, directed by Sandra Nettlebeck.
Miss Congeniality.
Released 2000, directed by Donald Petrie Moore. Miss Congeniality. 11 of 836. The greatest chick flicks ever made. 209 of 925. The all-time greatest comedy films. 96 of 1137. The absolute funniest movies of all time.
Water.
Released 1985, directed by Dick Clement.
Escape to Victory.
Released 1981, directed by John Huston Moore. Escape to Victory. 109 of 172. The best sports movies ever made. 52 of 114. The best prison movies. 31 of 63. The best Sylvester Stallone movies.
Zee and Company.
Released 1972, directed by Brian G. Hutton.
The Prestige.
Released 2006, directed by Christopher Nolan Moore. The Prestige. 15 small details from The Prestige that made us do a double take. 106 of 369. The best movies based on books.
California Suite.
Released 1978, directed by Herbert Ross.
The Wrong Box.
Released 1966, directed by Brian Forbes.
Flawless.
Released 2007, directed by Michael Radford.
The Statement.
Released 2003, directed by Norman Jewison.
Hurry Sundown.
Released 1967, directed by Otto Preminger.
Little Voice.
Released 1998, directed by Mark Herman.
The Romantic Englishwoman.
Released 1975, directed by Joseph Losey. The Fourth Protocol. Released 1987, directed by John Mackenzie Moore. The Fourth Protocol, 8 of 13. The most accurate movies about espionage, 215 of 233. The best R-rated action movies of all time. Ranked 30 of 98. The best Cold War movies.
The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Released 1992, directed by Brian Henson Moore. The Muppet Christmas Carol, 127 of 206 musical movies with the best songs, 85 of 541. The greatest guilty pleasure movies, 12 of 127. The best Christmas movies of all time.
Last Orders.
Released 2001, directed by Fred Shepasy.
The Last Valley.
Released 1971, directed by James Clavell.
Funeral in Berlin.
Released 1966, directed by Guy Hamilton Moore. Funeral in Berlin, 15 of 54. The best spy movies of the 1960s, 61 of 154. The best political thriller movies, 55 of 168. The best spy movies.
Too Late the Hero.
Released 1970, directed by Robert Aldrich Moore. Too Late the Hero, 240 of 374. The 50-plus best war movies ever made. Ranked 174 of 214. The greatest World War Roman II movies of all time, 24 of 49. The best British war movies.
The Dark Knight Rises.
Released 2012, directed by Christopher Nolan Moore. The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight Rises is anti-revolutionary corporate propaganda, 105 of 1540. The most rewatchable movies, 153 of 355. The best rainy day movies.
Batman Begins.
Released 2005, directed by Christopher Nolan Moore. Batman Begins. Small details from Batman Begins that prove it's the most slept on Nolan film, 13 of 177. The greatest comic book movies of all time.
Youth.
Released 2015, directed by Paolo Sorrentino.
Mona Lisa.
Released 1986, directed by Neil Jordan Moore. Mona Lisa, 81 of 102. The 100-plus best movies streaming on the Criterion Channel, 413 of 530. The greatest crime.
Children of Men.
Released 2006, directed by Alfonso Cuarón Moore. Children of Men, 52 of 170. The most utterly depressing movies ever made, 80 of 317. The greatest disaster movies of all time.
Educating Rita.
Released 1983, directed by Louise Gilbert.
Harry Brown.
Released 2009, directed by Daniel Barber.
Without a Clue.
Released 1988, directed by Tom Eberhardt.
A Bridge Too Far.
Released 1977, directed by Richard Attenborough Moore. A Bridge Too Far, 8 of 374. The 50-plus best war movies ever made. Ranked 214 of 553. the greatest epic movies ever made. 6 of 214, the greatest World War Roman II movies of all time.
Alfie.
Released 1966, directed by Louise Gilbert Moore. Alfie. 143 of 176, the best movies of the 60s. 40 of 50, the best Oscar-nominated movies of the 1960s. 44 of 95, the best romance drama movies.
The Dark Knight.
Released 2008, directed by Christopher Nolan. Moore. The Dark Knight. Subtle details from The Dark Knight. Even the biggest Batman fans missed behind-the-scenes stories from the set of The Dark Knight. 55 of 355, the best rainy day movies.
Deathtrap.
Released 1982, directed by Sidney Lumet. Moore. Deathtrap. 403 of 541, the greatest guilty pleasure movies. 439 of 522, the greatest movies of the 1980s. Rank.
Battle of Britain.
Released 1969, directed by Guy Hamilton.
The Italian Job.
Released 1969, directed by Peter Collinson. Moore. The Italian Job. 30 of 80, the best con movies. 15 of 130, the greatest car movies ever made.
The Quiet American.
Released 2002, directed by Philip Noyce. Moore. The Quiet American. 57 of 89, the greatest movies about CIA agents and operatives. 532 of 675, the best movies Roger Ebert gave 4 stars. 107 of 340, the best political films ever made.
Hannah and Her Sisters.
Released 1986, directed by Woody Allen. Moore. Hannah and Her Sisters. 110 of 1189, every Oscar-winning film ever. 85 of 89, the funniest movies about family.
The Ipcress File.
Released 1965, directed by Sidney J. Fury. Moore. The Ipcress File. 164 of 338, the greatest movies in world cinema history. 22 of 35, the best movies about agents and operatives. 8 of 54, the best spy movies of the 1960s.
Inception.
Released 2010, directed by Christopher Nolan. Moore. Inception. 20 small Inception details that prove it's time for a rewatch. List of movies like Inception.
The Eagle Has Landed.
Released 1976, directed by John Sturges.
Get Carter.
Released 1971, directed by Mike Hodges. Moore. Get Carter. 46 of 123, the best mafia films of all time. 134 of 553, the best 70s movies. 148 of 280, the best whodunit movies.
Sleuth.
Released 1972, directed by Joseph L. Mankiewicz. Moore. Sleuth. 193 of 242, the best psychological thrillers of all time. 63 of 84, the best movies based on plays.
Secondhand Lions.
Released 2003, directed by Tim McCanley's. Moore. Secondhand Lions. 206 of 306, the best movies for kids. 51 of 75, the best romance movies. 6 of 29, the best movies about old people.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Released 1988, directed by Frank Osmore. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels 54 of 314, the funniest 80s movies. 290 of 925, the all-time greatest comedy films. 109 of 1137, the absolute funniest movies of all time.
Zulu.
Released 1964, directed by Cy Enfield Moore. Zulu, the most brutal military training exercises throughout history. 1268 of 1540, the most rewatchable movies.
The Man Who Would Be King.
Released 1975, directed by John Huston Moore. The Man Who Would Be King. 116 of 206, the best adventure movies. 326 of 372, old movies every young person needs to watch in their lifetime.
The Cider House Rules.
Released 1999, directed by Lasse Hallström Moore. The Cider House Rules. 160 of 369, the best movies based on books. 450 of 836, the greatest chick flicks ever made. 41 of 84, great movies that take place in autumn.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Then take care, bye.